Wakey, wakey, another beautiful day. This is Monday Thursday. You know, Monday Thursday is just a day, or we call it the eve, just before Good Friday. That's how it's called Monday Thursday. I don't know why it's called Monday Thursday. I'll do my research a bit and inform you why they call it Monday Thursday. But of course, we know everyone has been gearing up for tomorrow, Good Friday, which will lead up until Monday. And of course, also the closure of schools begins today for the holidays. And of course, in commemorating the birth or the crucifixion of our Lord Jesus Christ. And this is a moment where everyone takes a reflection of what it does mean that particular day, Good Friday. Hello, good morning. This is Sokoni, and of course, you're watching it on Morning Prime. Today we have a lot lined up as far as the state of the economy is concerned. The report from the EACC is out regarding corruption, and we are a graft republic, just going by what the sentiments are there, which we shall be teasing out that with the panelists as well. But what is the way forward that we can stanch the flow of corruption in this country? How can we slay this dragon that has been eating in every facet of our society? We shall be looking at that as well. The banks also, they've given their profits readings as well. Many of them are taking up as far as the profit is concerned. We shall be looking at what that really concerns, especially when we have a supernormal profits in an economy that is really tanking or is not really stable as it is right now. Also, we have the Federation of Kenya Employers who are warning and the fact that there is a niggling worry and concern regarding the investor flight from the country. And we shall be also looking at that much later in the course of the program. I'll be holding court this morning with Dr. Habil Olaka, who is the CEO of Kenya Bankers Association. We shall also be joined momentarily by Professor Exen Iraki, who is Professor of Business at the School of Business, University of Nairobi. Also Dr. Martin Olo, who is a Dean of Students there, or the head of the department, School of Law in Daystar University. And Professor Fred Ogola, who is an economist as well. For now, let's put this horse into a full run by looking at the weather, which is up next. Well, and this is what you're waking up to on the front page of the dailies today. The Standard is holding civil servants who oil graft monster as a splash today. Societal Road anti-corruption chief says the state of advice has reached alarming levels, with public servants entrenching bribes for every service rendered, while Kenyans have become used to it. Ingraining the vice in Kenya's way of life, 70%, that is a percentage by which the average bribe size has gone up by, from 6,865 in 2022, that is in shillings, to 11,625 last year, according to a new report by EACC. Also, some of the ministries that have been flagged as leading in perpetrating this vice. We have Interior and Coordination of National Government, 47.1%. We have Ministry of Health, 13.2%. Ministry of Transport, 5.8%. Ministry of Education, 5.5%. You have Ministry of Defense, 5.4%. And also we have departments, agencies prone to graft as well are given here. Police, 55.4%. Traffic Police, 5.2%. Immigration Department, 4.4%. Registrar of Persons, 4%. Public Health, 3.5%. County departments prone to corruption. Health Services, 39.1%. Transport, that is county roads, traffic and parking combined, 11.9%. Trade Development and Regulation, 10%. Public Works and Services, 9.5%. Agriculture, 9.2%. All this is tucked away inside today's publication. You can read all the gritty details of this latest development of the corruption in the country. Also, glowing tribute to Rita Tinina in Final Journey is another story that you want to follow inside the publication today. That is on page 3. We'll run you by that stories as well. Banks reap big profits. This is on business pages of the Standard today. This is on 24. And FIFA's ban warning to Kenya. That is on page 46 of the Standard this morning. Allow me just to scroll over to where the Daily Nation is quickly. And this is where you have the splash. A nation of bribes. It's a survey. The system is deeply corrupted and stinks to high heaven. Graft. There is no free government service in Kenya. Everything has a price. And according to the 2023 National Ethics and Corruption Survey, the average size of bribe paid nearly doubled to 11,625 from 6,865 in the previous year, with the usual suspects, including counties, featuring the list of shame. And that list of shame is listed here. Of course, the sectors are listed here. We have public services by average size of bribe paid. Number 1, public seeking employment. Also, you can follow there the application of passports. That is average seeking employment, 163,260. That is what you need to part way with, and that is just an average figure. Application for transport, 74,400, and for passport, 74,428. We have seeking a police abstract. We have obtaining a tender. That is a given figure. Solving land conflicts. We have power connection, bills payment. We need to part ways with that amount, 12,006. Bailing out arrested individuals, seeking to transfer people from one school to another. Seeking business permit, seeking police security protection as well, right? So you can read all the gritty details about this inside the Daily Nation as well. State withdraws fake fertilizer amid outrage. And this is another story, a sad but story there, where the government has suspended the distribution of NPK fertilizer to farmers under the subsidy program. This comes after it was established that NPK 10 to the average of 26 and 10 manufactured by Kenya Chemicals Limited may be substandard. Agriculture Principal Secretary Kiprono Rono, in a letter to the National Cereals and Produce Board yesterday, ordered the state agency to stop the distribution of the fertilizer to farmers with immediate effect. You have the story on page 12 of the Standard today, the Daily Nation, I should say, and we can try and see other stories there where dust, mud, rock, rain let the Easter safari blast off. This begins today. This is on the sports pages of the Daily Nation this morning. Adios RT, celebrated TV journalist Rita laid to rest. It was a grand send-off for veteran journalist and NTV output editor Rita Tinina, who was laid to rest yesterday at a family home in Kirikiri in Narok County. From far and wide, hundreds of mourners flocked to the home of the departed Tinina, who was widely celebrated as an impactful journalist throughout her career. You have a story on page 2 of the Daily Nation this morning. On education, state releases 30 billion shillings to schools and universities. That is the story that you want to follow inside the Daily Nation this morning. Let's see what the Star is holding for us. Revealed state offices where bribe lords rule. National shame. County health departments, NTSA top list of bribery hotspots. ESSC reports show Interior, Health and Transport are the most corrupt ministries. And you have a story on page 4 and 5 of the Star this morning. Dreaded NTSA police back on roads with major crackdown, even as it has been flagged that some of these institutions are rife in perpetrating corruption. You can see NTSA officials removing registration number plates from impounded motor vehicles during crackdown on the Nairobi-Mombasa highway yesterday. You can follow this story inside the Star this morning. It's all systems go as focus stands on Easter weekend, iconic safari rally. You can follow the story on page 32 of the Star this morning. Let's see what the People Daily is holding for us. A nation of bribes. Avarice survey reveals most corrupt state agencies, counties and services Kenyans are unlikely to access until they part with cash. You have a story on page 4 of the People Daily this morning. Likelihood of bribery demand in public institutions. And these are the institutions that are listed here: Traffic Police, County Health Department Police, County Education Department, National Transport and Safety Authority, County Commissioner, Deputy Assistant County Commissioner Office, and we have Youth Fund Office, Public Service Commission, County Public Service Boards, National Construction Authority, amongst others. You can follow the story. The prevalence of bribe payment in counties. Nyamira County takes the top with 100%, right? That is the prevalence. Corruption is rife there. Baringo also, we have it at 100%. Nothing moves until you facilitate or give facilitation fee. You have Siaya, you have Bungoma, Turkana, you have West Pokot, Samburu, Nandi, Kakamega, Kisumu. All this 100% prevalence of corruption. It's a shame, right? If they've made it to the top 10. And amongst others as well. You can read the rest of the details or follow the list inside the People Daily this morning. And that is the current state of play as far as corruption is concerned in the country. ODM asked Joho and Paranya to go slow. This, you can follow it on page 6 of the People Daily. Mashogu, how education money will be distributed. You can read all about it on page 2. That capitation for universities and high schools have been dispersed so far, and the rest of the details are tucked away inside the People Daily on page 2. Also, MPs are demanding probe on fake fertilizer sale, and most of the farmers also they want compensation. You can read all about it inside the People Daily as well. Hongo, Nyamira ndio baba yao. This is what we have on the front page of Taifa Leo. Nyamira ndio baba yao. Tume ya maadili ya kupambana na ufisadi yafichua kwenye ripoti county utoaji hongo umekolea. You can read all about it inside the publication today on page 2. And also on the sidebar, Waadhiriwa Shakahola kusaidiwa is another development there on page 2 of Taifa Leo. Mjukuu wa mzee Moi kukamatwa, koti ya Nakuru yatoa kibali cha kukamata Collins Kibet kwa kuhepa koti. You can follow the story on page 2 of Taifa Leo. Mtangazaji nyota wa NTV Rita Tinina agwa kishujaa. You can read all about it on page 3 of the publication today. Let's buckle up to some business this morning. I wonder where my business daily is, but I will show you much later. But let me cross over to Uganda, where government is ordering schools to register teachers. This is a story that you want to follow inside the publication today. It says database, the Ministry of Education and Sports has directed government and private education institutions to register all their teachers on the Education Management Information System by April 15th or be banned from teaching. And you have a story on page 4 of the Daily Monitor. Maize milk export earnings go up in Uganda. Government has reported an 18% annual growth in exports of agricultural commodities from $2.1 billion in the 2021-2022 financial year to $2.5 billion financial year, that is 2022-2023. You can follow the story there inside the Daily Monitor. How new Islamic Bank will work. President Museveni yesterday launched Salam Bank Limited, which will officially offer Islamic banking services in the country. Salam Bank Limited, a subsidiary of Djibouti-based Salam Group, was the first bank to receive an Islamic banking license from Bank of Uganda in September last year. Speaking during the launch of Kolo Kolo Independence Grounds in Kampala, Mr. Museveni said there is a need for all Ugandans, including Muslims, to join the money economy by engaging in sectors that will financially uplift their lives. You can read all about it inside the Daily Monitor if you're waking up in Uganda. On top there, road safety tips for Easter holiday travels. You have it tucked away inside the Daily Monitor. And also, Bank of Uganda rejects JUCO's Stanbic replacement. You can follow the story inside the publication today. While lorry owners are taking a beating on Central Corridor, lorry operators in Tanzania are losing business on the Central Corridor following the introduction of new procedures by major shipping lines. And all that is tucked away on page 2 of The Citizen this morning. Top women academics unite to fight sexual bribery at universities. Read all about it inside. Hungarian minister visit Tanzania in boost to ties. All that tucked away in the publication today. And Biteko orders removal of power companies boss. Biteko orders removal of power companies boss. That is on page 4 of The Citizen in Tanzania. In Rwanda, why Global Coalition wants Rwanda to endorse end of fossil fuels call. Africa leads the world in solar potential, holding 60% of the best solar resources. You have the story continuing on page 3, where it is well fleshed out for you. And General Karuretwa briefs defense attaches accredited to Rwanda. And you can see the briefing here, Director General of International Military Cooperation in the Ministry of Defense, that is Patrick Koretwa, addressing 30 defense attaches, associates accredited to Rwanda for the quarterly security briefing at the Rwanda Defense Force headquarters in Hurura in Kigali. You can read the rest of the details inside the New Times this morning. Kagame, DRC thought the East African force was there to fight its wars. You can read all about it inside the New Times as well. And back like he never left, this has been the publication. Of course, in this week's the East African, Museveni's son, General Muhoozi, is now Army Chief after his promotion coming at a time the veteran leader is going for 7th term. Question is standby generator now on or off? And this is the publication this week. And the battle for Uganda's petrol import millions, that is another story that you want to follow. Tanzania is availing itself of business as Nairobi and Kampala haggle over red tape, giving Museveni a deal he can't refuse. And the latest development as well is that this row between Kenya and Uganda as well has been settled, and resumption of business will be as it has been before. Uncertainty clouds polls timelines in South Sudan. Machar pushes for an extension of voting dates at states as states grapples with poor preparedness. EAC courts underfunded, overwhelmed. Regional court officials struggle to clear backlog as partner states sue each other every other day. You have a story on page 21 of the East African this morning. Looking at the editorial cartoon, guess who is leading? Share of national bribe by public institutions, right? This is what Gabs has drawn today. Hey, comrade, want this position? Yamacho, and it's all yours. And you can see county government officers as well are leading there, and we have police also in that order. NTSA, by the way, is back on the roads, but also has been flagged as one of the leading institutions that is perpetrating this evil. This is You already talk tune in to the Standard today. And climbing out of a loss-making pit, this is Kenya Airways reporting for the first time after so many days. Of course, a modicum of profit, right, is the elephant now dancing. We are yet to see, and also we'll learn from our panelists this morning regarding the fate of KQ. Remember, the government also had flagged that this year, at the end of this year, this will be the last time the government will be bailing out Kenya Airways. And if it's not really putting its book in order, then we don't know what will happen to it. But this is the latest that was reported by Kenya Airways. And vroom, hold on, safety first. No spilling this Easter holiday. Our roads are leading to Naivasha for the WRC. And you can see the zebra is saying, no speeding, you are forewarned, or you are advised, especially as we're heading towards Easter. Let's observe the road safety precautions as well. Be careful on the road, buckle up, and do not drink. Right, this is the dailies today. I shall show you the business daily momentarily, but allow me to just unveil the faces that we have this morning. Who will take us through the conversations, a lot of them on different sectors of the economy. As far as the economy is concerned, looking at the banking sector, looking at the parastatals as well, with the latest developments regarding their merger and also some of them their closure, which is sending a stern warning to some of the CEOs there moving forward as well. And just to give you the feel and flavor of what is happening in the money markets as well, we shall be looking at that much, much later in the course of the program. And fighting the menace of corruption, as it has been flagged by EACC, right? We're talking about a country where we say we're a country of thuggery, and fakery. And we'll tell you much, much more on that particular note as well. But we're on the call this morning with Dr. Habil Olaka, who is the CEO of Kenya Bankers Association, also Professor Exen Iraki. He's a lecturer at the University of Nairobi School of Business. We have also the head of department, School of Law at Daystar University, and advocate also. This is Dr. Martin Olo. Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning, Dibal.
Thank you for joining us. And I just want to begin by introducing and giving a hearty welcome to Habil Olaka. It's been a while, sir, since you've been on this particular panel, right? Since we are on the other side of the tracks. I think I've never seen you on this other side of the tracks, especially on this table. Good morning, good to see you.
Morning, thank you.
It's been a while, and glad you're joining us.
Thank you.
So we're looking forward to hearing from you, especially on that particular front from the banking sector, where we see, looking at the dailies as well, everything is looking up as far as profits making is concerned. But a niggling worry as well is the fact that we have non-performing loans, especially for the manufacturing sector. And we want to just hear from you what is happening on that particular front. Also, you wearing a different cap, on one of which is the Federation of Kenya Employers as well, where we have the Federation expressing concern regarding the flight of investors in the country. So what is going on? You can also give us a feel and flavor of what is informing this particular worry as well. Martin Law, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Morning, and thank you for giving me such eminent persons. When I came in, I saw dark suits and ties.
You knew this is serious business.
Goodness, am I on the right show?
Yeah, striped suit, don't joke. I wonder if it's written. Is it
labeled?
H-O-O? I need a magnifying glass to just see if it is written. Yeah, we have inscription there of H-O-O, but we're looking forward to hearing from that as well. Today is Maundy Thursday. Yeah, Maundy Thursday, as they normally call it, is a Thursday just before Easter, and we shall be commemorating the death of the Lord Jesus Christ. Of course, we know that what happened on the cross, many people subscribe to that particular faith, that if it wants for resurrection of Jesus Christ, then Christianity is a sham, because this is where it's all predicated on. Good morning, good to see you, Martin.
Thank you. And it's unusual to be here on a Thursday, you know. I come to talk about other things, so I'm hoping to hear what
we want to.
Yes, the serious Kenyans.
All right, excellent, Iraqi. Thank you for joining us as well. What's up, your collective sleeves?
I'm scared about the headlines.
You're scared about the headlines?
Yes. Corruption, graft, but I think we are going to dissect that in a few minutes.
Yes.
You stated clear that it is Holy Thursday, so we are heading to Easter, but I have no intention of going to Naivasha.
You have no intention at all?
Yes, I'll be around. I'm not going to Vasha at all.
Yes.
I'll be around.
Because the spirit of Asha and the spirit of Easter
Are incompatible.
Are incompatible.
All right, Maundy Thursday. They say here that Christ's mandate is commemorated on Maundy Thursday. Maundy being a shortened form of mandatum, which means command. It was on the Thursday of Christ's final week before being crucified and resurrected that he said this commandment to his disciple. Jesus and his disciples had just shared what was known as the Last Supper, and he was washing their feet when he stated, "A new commandment I give to you, that you love one another, just as I have loved you. You also are to love one another." Now that is the commandment. Now that is why we call it the Maundy Thursday. At least now I've taught something to the professor. Yeah, I can teach as well.
The professors also learn.
I think that's one thing. It's a misnomer. I don't know. It's a misconception. When you become a professor, one of the things you should be famous for is being able to learn from others and listen from others.
Yes.
If you become a professor and your work is to pretend that you know everything, you become a very ineffective professor. So my work, when we sit here elsewhere, is to listen to what other people are saying. Because you keep learning your life. You see, there's an assumption that people are empty. Your work is to pour knowledge into them.
Yes.
No, everybody has his own knowledge. So you bring your knowledge, I bring mine, we negotiate, we come up with superior knowledge.
Indeed.
That's how it's supposed to be.
Fantastic. All right, so I had not shown you what the Business Daily is holding for us, and this is what the Business Daily is holding for us this morning. What top banks have earned shareholders is what is a splash today. And more the reason that we have Abil Olaka to tell us more about this as well. This is what is on the front page of a Business Daily. Lenders battle 133 billion defaults, says. Top dividends for 9 tier 1 banks flat. And you have the faces spread here. James Mwangi of Equity. And 2021, I think they've maintained that. Top banks dividend payout at 15.1. In 2022 and 2023 financial year, we have also Kariuki Ngari, Stanchart, 2022, 8.3. It's ticked up to 11 now. We have Gideon Muriuki, 8.8 in 2022, 2023 financial year, and still maintain that. We have 7.3, 2022, and 8.4, 2023, that is Abdi Mohammed of ABSA. We have also John Gashora, NCBA. Ticked up at least a percentile of 8 there, 2022, 2023. And also we have Joshua Oigara of Stanbic, 5 in 2022, 6.1, 2023. Nasim Devji of DTB, 2022, 1.4, has ticked up on by a percentile of 0.3 there in 2023. And 2022, we have Paul Russo of KCB, 6.4. And 2023, we have nothing there. Dividend was not really paid out in 2020, that 2022-2023 financial year. I think this was dedicated much to, I don't know why I don't know what really informed the not paying of or not paying of the dividends. Abil Olaka, you have any inkling? Or the KCB? I know you're all well versed with all this.
I think it could be possibly a strategy.
A strategy.
To ensure that you sharp all your resources for future growth. Yeah.
The fact that also is sort of maybe now disengaging with NBK, will that be a factor contributing to it, or?
Yeah, all those are factors that actually contribute to the dividend decision, because at the end of the day, you pay dividends to send a message to your investors. And at this particular point, when you're trying to rearrange your portfolio and also trying to look at ensuring that you are strong enough for future growth, you make those decisions based on that. And so I think KCB is making strategic decisions.
Strategic decisions. All right, we shall be looking at that much later in the course of the program. Let's buckle down to some of the stories that we have for you, especially just beginning with the fake fertilizer, where the government has suspended the distribution of NPK 10 to the ratio of 26 to the ratio of 10, if I'm reading it well, fertilizer manufactured by Ken Chemical Limited that was being distributed to farmers. at subsidized rates. According to a circular from Agriculture Principal Secretary Shulseki Prono Rono, the fertilizer has not met the required standards and directed the manufacturer to confirm specifications before reintroduction. The move comes on a day that the government continued to be on the receiving end regarding fake fertilizers that is currently being distributed. A section of farmers from different parts of the country have demanded for full compensation, claiming that they were swindled. Our senior political affairs reporter, Chris Tyro, starts us off on that.
Farmers from different parts of the country continue to count heavy losses occasioned by the purchase of fertilizers through the government-subsidized program, only to find out that they are fake or do not meet the required standards. In some of the bags distributed at the National Cereals and Produce Board, the fake fertilizer has been mixed with stones and cow dung and goat droppings.
Hii fertilizer tulinunua tukakuta iko na ile dropping ya mavi ya mbuzi. Alafu kunuka inanuka mavi ya mbuzi. Gunia ndani unakuta haina ile lining ya karatasi ya nylon ile inazuiaga fertilizer ili isishikwe na maji ama isiharibike.
Na tumejitolea vya kutosha, tukachanga mapato yetu yale tuko nayo, tukanunua gunia moja, gunia mbili, lakini kwa saa hii tumepigwa na mshangao kwa sababu kile tumepata sio kile tulitarajia.
Tumeshindwa tutapanda na nini? Bado tunangojea majibu, hatujui twende pande gani. Hatujui tuangalia wapi. Senator alituambia tukimwona tunaona fertilizer. Sasa sisi tunaona fertilizer yenye iko na mavi ya mbuzi.
According to the farmers, they feel that the government has swindled them.
Mlituahidi ya kwamba wakulima watafaidika kutokana na mipango ya serikali. Lakini mipango tunaiona saa hii sioni kama ni mipango ambayo inaweza weka mkulima motisha wa kuendelea kufanya kazi. Sababu nikipanda fertilizer ya aina hii mazao yangu yapungue hata zaidi, basi nitabaki maskini hoya.
Kuna kitu inaitangwa kwa kizungu disaster ama calamity. Hii ni calamity. Kuangalia ati fertilizer tunaitoa kwa makumbi ya serikali. Kumaanisha kabla ingia kwa hizo stores za serikali, lazima kungekuwa na mtu wa kudhibitisha hii fertilizer ni fertilizer halali, fertilizer mzuri, fertilizer yenye inafaa.
Tunaona tutapata njaa sana. Kama wakati huu hatujapanda na mvua inaendelea kunyesha, tutafanya nini? Na tutakuwa na njaa tu. Serikali yetu, tafadhalini kujeni mtusaidie.
Following the hue and cry from various farmers, the Agriculture Ministry has released a circular to the National Cereals and Produce Board instructing them to suspend the distribution of the said fertilizers until the manufacturer meets the required standards.
Munaona serikali inajaribu kupambana na wakora wale wanataka kuwalagai wa Kenya na pia kujaribu kuwaletea kama kuwauzia mbegu mbaya. Juzi ule Njoro huko kwa Kadhambi, mkora number 1 amekuwa huko, tumekamata wote, tumeweka ndani.
According to the government, some unscrupulous businessmen have been distributing the fake fertilizers to farmers in a bid to taint the name of the Kenya Kwanza administration.
To the MCA, because you are the only one who basically comes from the ground here, na umesema fertilizer ni mbaya. Before I leave, please give me receipts ya wale ambao wamepata fertilizer mbaya, and I will ensure the compensation is done before I leave here. Ndio tuache uongo na tukue na stories za ukweli.
Haina mambo ya mbolea, so nobody should be worried that the president is going to respond to anybody.
Kama kuna kitu ndani ya hii serikali, mwenye kuulizwa swali ni nani? Mwenye serikali. Wewe huwezi kutuuzia fertilizer ovyo alafu kuje kutuambia tusiulize kwa niaba ya wananchi. Na ukiangalia vizuri, ukichunguza, kama Rita angekuwa hapa afanye expose, ungekuta hii fertilizer iliingizwa na Talamu. Anatuambia hapa ati tusiulize hii maswali.
The government went big on the distribution of the subsidized fertilizer from mid last year in a bid to boost farmers and increase food production in the country. Chris Tyro, KTN News, Nairobi.
Now to the fight against graft, and it is emerging that corruption is becoming more expensive by the day. A survey conducted by the anti-graft body, EACC, shows that the number of Kenyans paying bribes in order to access government services has increased from 65% to 80%, a grim picture of the fight against the virus. The report released further shows that the most corrupt in Kenya is the police service. Our reporter Vera Mora gives us details about the National Corruption Survey 2023.
Corruption is like a cancer. It eats you slowly, and eventually it's going to finish you if you do nothing about it.
The report by the EACC sought to establish the status of corruption and ethics in the country, and it appears that the fight against the vice is far from being won. The report covers the entire country with over 5,100 respondents being interviewed. The report further shows that the police service continues to lead in the most corrupt government departments and agencies. The police leads with a massive of 55.4%, followed by the traffic police at 5.2%, then immigration department at 4.4%, registrar of persons at 4%. Other departments prone to graft are public health, Department of Education, National Lands Commission, and the Chief's Office. The Ministry of Interior and Coordination of National Government leads as the most corrupt ministry, followed by the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Transport and Infrastructure, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Defense, and lastly, Ministry of Lands and Physical Planning. The report also captured counties where bribery was high, and the leaders are Nairobi, West Pokot, Uasin Gishu, Kisii, Kitui, Meru, Nakuru, Murang'a, Kiambu, and Kajiado. 38.8% of the respondents said they have paid a bribe since it was the only way to access the service, followed by 20% who said they paid because it was demanded, and 19% who said they paid bribes to avoid delay in provision of service. The largest share of national bribe was paid to passport application at 35.8%, seeking employment at 22.1%, seeking a police abstract at 11.5%, and bailing of arrested individuals at 10.3%. EACC Chairperson David Oginde says 80% of Kenyans participate in corruption, making a rise from the previous year of 65%, promising that going forward they will leverage on technology and involve the community in training to fight the vice.
We want to come together and work with them as a commission to identify areas of weakness and to identify ways and means through which we can reduce these incidences of bribery and corruption within the next 100 days.
Vera Mora, KTN News.
Celebrated journalist Rita Tinina was laid to rest on Wednesday in her late father's farm in Olokirikirai, Narok County, in a ceremony that was attended by family, friends, political leaders, and media personalities. Rita, who succumbed to severe pneumonia, was eulogized as humble working journalist who will be missed for generations to come. KTN's Grace Nganga tells the story of Rita Tinina's final journey.
It was a somber mood at Olokirikirai, Narok County, at the compound of the late Dominic Yapan, as family and friends gathered to bid farewell to media icon Rita Yapan Tinina.
Maisha yetu ni kama jua tu, bila ambavyo inachomoza asubuhi na kutua. Ni ile tu hatujui jua yetu itatua wakati gani.
Time will come when the burden will be a bit lighter, but for now.
Early Wednesday, 27th March 2024, the cottage left Umash Funeral Home, Nakuru County, and headed to the family home, the final resting place. She took her last ride in a black Range Rover, a humble request from her girl squad, who made up of 4 of Tinina's friends who wanted to fulfill a plan made earlier as they were to go on a road trip in April in a Range Rover. The vehicle was decorated with a V-shaped wreath of flowers, which were a mixture of red, white, and green with a touch of purple. Inside the hearse where the casket was placed was decorated with red roses, and the casket was covered with a white lace cloth, perhaps indicating an angel. Media personalities who attended the burial eulogized her as a humble human being.
She was at Standard Group for more than 10 years. She was a colleague. She was a good person.
Najua wakati mwingine inafika mahali tunataka kuuliza Mungu kwa nini? Mbona akamchukua Rita? Mbona akamchukua Rita kutoka kwetu, lakini tunasema kwamba kazi ya Mungu haina makosa. Ni ile tu tutamwombea Mungu ailaze roho yake mahala pema, tuseme kwamba tumwachilie.
We all have very nice things to say about Rita. And not because we will make up anything, but because we are reciting this as facts as they happened.
Tulimpenda sana. Na sio tu mfanyikazi wa hivi hivi.
Also present was politicians who urged the young generation of journalists to emulate the work ethics of the late Tinina.
To my colleagues and media fraternity, I say poleni sana.
Ni kitu ambaye inahuzunisha sana. Ni kitu saa zingine napata uulize Mungu, mbona, why? Mbona uli decide kuchukua Rita? Rita msichana wetu mmoja ambaye aliweka village yetu ya Olekirikrai kwenye map ya dunia.
She's the most humble reporter I've worked with.
The 46-year-old who has left behind a daughter will be remembered for her humility and her uniqueness in her storytelling. She died at her home in Kileleshwa Sunday, 17th March 2024 of severe pneumonia. Rest in eternal peace, Rita Tinina. Grace Nganga, KTN News.
Indeed, rest in eternal peace, Rita Tinina. Now, talks to avert strike seems to have flopped, and hope for resolution of Medic's strike heated snagged when the anticipated talks collapsed once again. According to the Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentist Union, KMPDU, the government is not serious about resolving the impasse. KMPDU Secretary General Dr. Davji Atela blamed the government for failing to take the talks seriously.
When we were to meet, we were to get a report from that committee and continue with the discussion. But when we arrived in the meeting, the acting chair for this particular committee, the deputy head of public service, that is former governor of Turkana, Nanok, Joseph Nanok, informed the Solicitor General to then read the court orders that were given that day. And then from their side, they say that there has been no compliance in the court orders, and therefore the meeting is ended, and the government side walked out. And I think this is a clear implication that it was something that was planned and stage managed within the meeting. It's actually a clear indication that all the subcommittee engagements, all the meetings we've been having have just been to buy time towards the court date of 3rd, and that government actually is not committed in any way to resolve this particular issue or the things that we raised in our strike notice. Because in the meeting we had on 21st and the meeting of today, there was no indication that the government has implemented any of the 19 issues or any commitment in any of them. I mean, the government has been on strike, and therefore the doctors also have to continue joining them on this strike until the day they are ready to resolve it.
And still on the Medic's strike, the Council of Governors has issued an ultimatum to striking doctors to return to work or face unspecified consequences. The chairperson of the Council of Governors, Anne Waiguru, has told the Medics that they should return to work and end the current paralysis in the provision of medical services. She spoke as the strike entered the 14th day. And still, no hope for resolution after talks convened to end the impasse collapse. Husna Mohammed has more.
The Medic strike entered day 14th today with no resolution in sight. Doctors have remained adamant, insisting they won't call off the strike until the demands are met. Speaking Wednesday, governors through the Council of Governors has issued an ultimatum to striking doctors to resume work or else face unspecified consequences.
The Council urges the Ministry of Health to ensure timely payment of fees of our doctors on postgraduate training to allow the doctors complete their studies within the stipulated time.
The warning was issued today by the chairperson of Council of Governors, Anne Waiguru, who said provision of services in the counties remain paralyzed.
We wish to inform the doctors and the public that all internship training centers within the county facilities are available to receive and welcome the interns once they are posted.
The governors have told the striking medics to heed court orders over the issue.
The CBA was signed by the national government, and counties were not funded as was expected to implement the same. Nevertheless, counties have progressively made efforts to ensure that the medical practitioners are adequately remunerated.
The doctors, among other things, are demanding the employment of more doctors, more so the interns. But according to Waiguru County government, which bear the burden of providing health, cannot tackle some issues as they can only be handled by the national government.
Many counties have put measures in place to ensure that we are avoiding delay in the payment of salaries by having separate negotiations with banks.
Clinical officers and lab technicians have also threatened to join the striking medics if the issues are also not addressed. Husna Mohammed, KTN News, Nairobi.
All right, and those are the stories that we shall be analyzing a bit with our panelists as well, looking at the fake fertilizer. What fake fertilizer? This is what he has been tripping off the tongue of the minister, that is Mr. Linturi, as you can see there, eating or putting his foot in the mouth. And this is according to the captioning there of Victor in the Daily Nation today. Dr. Martin Dolo, what do you think about the fake fertilizer and the government now rolling back and saying, of course, there's no fake fertilizer from the CS? Just briefly.
You know, Dibal, we are living in very strange times. Strange times because you would expect a wrong to be a wrong. You would expect that any act of sabotage on the economy would be taken seriously. When you are looking for food security, when you want people to make a livelihood on their farms and in the agricultural production, the last thing you want is at the planting season or at the time when farmers are supposed to be preparing and planting, you have a scandal. Because then what you are doing, you are undermining the confidence of farmers and you are actually undermining food production for the next season. So it should be something that we take so seriously, and even if it was a rumor, the government should swing in with a lot of seriousness. Unfortunately, this is not a rumor. This is the government's own parastatal, the Cereals and Produce Board, that is supposed to be offering subsidized fertilizer, actually purveying and allowing substandard fake fertilizer into their stores and to get that supplied to farmers. That should be a serious scandal. In a normal world, somebody like Mythical Linturi shouldn't be looking at Kenyans in the face. He should be saying he is quitting. But we are not in a normal world. Ours is a very strange world. It's a world where truth is turned upside down. A lie is truth. So this is fertilizer. This is the story of we don't have money to pay doctors. This is the story of we want to fire people because those parastatals are not making money. It cannot be that all we are existing is to do things that do not seem to be adding on to the welfare of people. The state, the government exists not just to make money. The government exists not to fleece people, not to make people poorer, but to give them a level playing field around which every person can thrive, every enterprise can thrive. So the story of fake fertilizer is a bad story. It's it is fortunately it's coming against the story of corruption. It is corruption. It is by the time you sit down to put sand and to put stones in a bag and you are calling it fertilizer, you are duping. You are, you want to make money over people's ignorance, or you want to use you are taking advantage of people and selling them fake products. So basically for me it's a very, very unfortunate situation, and we shouldn't even be countenancing it. It should be something that their government comes out with guns blaring and takes action. Unfortunately, every day it started in Western. We thought it was a problem with the county there. It has come all over. We've seen it in Rift Valley. We've seen it in Central. So it's not isolated. And these products are coming through official sources. That should worry us.
Yeah. No, looking at the list of most corrupt institutions, I think we have NTSA and Interior leading there, first of all. But given the light of the magnitude of fertilizer and this suppressing or threatening even food security in the country, where farmers now are seeking compensation, shouldn't it now be on the top?
I think this is a very scary scenario, because one of the questions I would ask is, what else is fake? Because if a fake fertilizer can get into the market, and you look at all the supply chain, as my colleague put it, from packaging, can you imagine getting droppings of cows or droppings of sheep and some stones and putting them together? You put them in a bag, you transport them from the packaging place up to NCB, National Seed and Produce Board warehouses. For you to do that, you must be very brave. And I think you should be told, who are these people who are so brave? They can infiltrate fertilizer supply chain, sell fake fertilizers, and they're not caught. Because I don't think anybody has been arrested here because of selling fake fertilizer. So there must be some complicity inside all this. And that scares me, because when the people who are supposed to implement or to make sure that the genuine things go through the system to their customers, when they are involved, then there's a big concern. And I can also bring the issue of accidents. A lot of people have died of accidents in the last few weeks. Could that also be fake spare parts? Spare parts that get into spare oil, fake brakes, fake other things. So the issue is not just about fertilizer, that we have very many fake people. We have very many fake parts in this country. You remember the other time we had fake certificates. So Kenya is turning out to be a land of fake things. And this is affecting our image. Remember, one of the places that was identified as very corrupt was passport issuance. So, and we are saying we want our young boys, young men and women to go and work abroad, but it's very hard to get a passport. So I think as we address the issue of fake fertilizer, it's not just about the food security, but the whole economy. Let's not just look at it as an isolated case. Let's ask, why are we having so many fakes in this country? Because if we don't address the root cause of fake fertilizers and other fake things, there will still be fake things tomorrow.
Dr. Habilolaka, does this really chalks up to, I should say, poor corporate governance that is happening with the rising issues of corruption? What do you adduce this to?
I think I was just going to add a comment on that, in the sense that, when Kenya Kwanza came into government, I think one of the things that was clearly a concern at that point in time was the fact that the cost of living was on the up and all that. And one of the ways in which they came in with a solution was the fact that the government then was focusing on, providing subsidies. And the subsidies were, in terms of fuel, yes. In terms of even unga, there was a subsidy on unga. And it was more or less subsidizing consumption. They turned it around and they said, rather than subsidizing consumption, you're going to subsidize production so that you can increase production. And therefore, the point about fertilizer, subsidized fertilizer, was to be able to promote production in the agricultural sector. And for me, that was, a breath of fresh air. But now, to reach the point whereby your own systems are sabotaging such a strategic move that you have, I think that's a point of concern, and I think the government should take it very seriously in terms of ensuring that the attempt to sabotage its own move towards economic recovery is actually tackled at that point in time. Now you bring in the point of corporate governance, and I think all these institutions have all failed because of that particular point in terms of their corporate governance structures. You have seen, we are being shown the report from the Anti-Corruption Commission, highlighting what has gone wrong, and in fact the public perception in terms of some of the institutions that are ranking high in terms of corruption. But all of them will point down to the fact that there's a collapse in terms of the corporate governance of the institutions. Now, like looking at NCPB, I think all that boils down to the fact that the corporate governance structures that have been put in place are slowly collapsing. And if we do not address that right at the beginning, I think we are going to see a deterioration of this institution, and that is going to spread. Somebody mentioned about a cancer. It starts with one institution is pressed to the other, and because you're doing nothing about it, everybody picks it as if that's a norm. That's a normal, existence, in terms of how things should be done. And I think, therefore, we need to nip it in the bud.
Nip it in the bud. We have the CS now saying these are not fake fertilizer. These are the substandard fertilizer, Martin Olo. Is it a matter of semantics? I don't understand. These are substandard. They're not fake, but they are substandard.
We are talking about life, and we are talking about farmers' lives, and we are talking about productivity. So we should not even be talking about substandard. We expect government, through KEBS and all its organs, to ensure standards.
We should not even be talking about fake. We should not be having a conversation on fake fertilizer right now.
Yeah, because you see, why do governments exist? Governments exist to make sure quality is assured. That's why there are quality assurance, there are quality this, there are standards that, council that, and that's the point. So we should not have a conversation. If you are going to cook food on the table, you cannot talk about substandard food. You're expecting quality food being served to Kenyans. I mean, it can't be that it's okay for some Kenyans to have some poison and others to have some serious food. In other words, if farmers are going to be encouraged to do a good job, it means that they have to be given the right implements, the right inputs. The quality has to be high. And it's not just about farmers. It's about the nation. It's about whether you want to feed the nation or not. I mean, I would think that the business of government is to feed its people. So how can you even be talking about substandard fertilizer? How do you then expect to deal with food crisis? Of course, we are preparing to say we shall import because there were there's poor harvest. I mean, the things that we do to ourselves are, laughable. Because tomorrow you'll hear. The other day we were being told that now we have to produce our own oil because this oil that we imported was very expensive. Why did we import in the first place? Who told us to go and import? So I don't know what to say, but I believe that we have reached a point in which even the government itself is not taking itself seriously. And on a number of fronts, because if you look at anything that they want done, they put energy there. For example, affordable housing, energy is there. Health, social insurance, energy is there. But what about food production? The very thing that, if Kenyans got nothing, if there was nothing else that we needed as Kenyans, let there be food. Let every Kenyan be able to eat, not to go hungry. But you cannot do that if farmers are encouraged to produce. Why are we going to Uganda, or why are we saying maize is cheap in Tanzania? It's because something is working, some policies are working. And a lot of our problems, of course, even when we talk about that fertilizer, the cost of implements, the cost of farming an acre, plus now substandard fertilizer is prohibitive and discouraging. So what we are simply saying is that our farmers can as well, fold up. We are talking about doctor strike. Our farmers should go on strike also.
Right. I think the music is up. We need to take a short break. When we circle back, of course, we shall be looking at also the graft republic, with the corruption that is rife. We have Dr. Habil Olaka also pointing to a poor corporate governance. If it's really installed in both the private sector and the public, looking at the Mwongozo Code as well, will that also make any discernible difference as far as stanching the flow of corruption is concerned? We know, and we've been fighting this for quite a while, but looking at what is happening right now, should we also be calling out the Ministry of Public Service? Because I think this is where it really boils down when it comes to instilling some of these ethic issues as far as performance contract is concerned. So we have institutions in place, but they seem not to be working seamlessly together, and this so disjointed function that is coming. And why this is thriving, we are yet to find out. But is it also a conscience of the public that is seared that needs now to be reawakened as well? We'll take a short break right now. When we circle back, of course, we shall be looking at that with our panelists as well, and take a survey of what is happening in the banking sector and also the parastatals as well. We'll take a short break.